children of reality? Here I am on day 17, repeating the truth over and over and over and over and over again. Not just my own truth. In this position today, which I've sat on many days, I haven't even taken my guitar out yet. During that time, I've reached hundreds of children with the truth on repeat. Not just my own truth, not just my own truth at all. The truth of the greatest artist of all time. I give an example of what I'm doing on repeat and what I did from the very first day of arrival in Napoli, which is a remarkable city. I really do love it. But this is what's taking place on that side of the camera. I can share the truth of the greatest artist of all time on repeat. Lots of testimony, lots of witnesses, market traders who have to move when the police come from this position. I'm saying stuff like this. Is this the real life thriller? I put a spell on you, and the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made in The Sound of Silence. People say I'm crazy watching the wheels imagine when to change. In what I just said then, which I say faster than that, Rod Temperton, Vincent Price, and all the professional dancers of Thriller are included in what I just said, and everyone, the artist I just mentioned, worked with. How many artists, writers, poets, musicians, professional actor Vincent Price, and professional dancers did I tribute? I repeat, I'm saying this is day 17 minus the break with my brother Carl and Katie and Barry, which was wonderful to recover a little bit after being robbed. Excuse me, I'm still recovering after quitting Coca-Cola 17 days ago. So I'm doing this. Is this the real life thriller? I put a spell on you, and the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made in The Sound of Silence. People say I'm crazy watching the wheels imagine when to change, and I'm even adding much more onto it again and again and again and again. Example in this book of what I've been doing with a song called No Way Out, written in Camp of the Fury 2 years and 4 months ago. I'm also repeating with Crazy Crazies the names of every single person on this page. While I'm saying Crazy Crazies, would you recognize Michael Jackson? Would you recognize Rod Temperton? Would you recognize Vincent Price? Would you recognize Freddie Mercury? Would you recognize Jim Morrison? Would you recognize Paul Simon? Would you recognize Suprema J. Hawkins? Would you recognize Roger Waters? Would you recognize John Lennon? Would you recognize Marcus Garvey? Would you recognize Bob Marley? Would you recognize Nina Simone? Would you recognize David Bowie? Would you recognize George Benson? Would you recognize Whitney Houston? Would you recognize Bob Dylan? Would you recognize Vincent van Gogh? Would you recognize Don McLean? Would you recognize Chris Rea? Would you recognize Soul to Soul? Would you recognize The Temptations? Would you recognize Buddy Holly? Would you recognize Big Mama Thornton? Would you recognize Elvis? Would you recognize Jerry Lee Lewis? Plus, all of my own truth too. All of my own truth too. Plus, on top of that, I bambini possono vedere, è un miracolo. The children can see, it's a miracle. God help the children. If only you could see like they do. Do you eat bambini? And I'm saying this stuff, I'm pretty sure I played in this position every day. I'm sat here every day with no guitar too. On repeat, repeating my truth, plus the truth of the greatest artist of all time, undeniably with the list I just showed you then. On repeat. And no matter what I say, 99% of this moving adult society through Napoli would not offer that if I paid them to. While I'm visibly teaching the children on repeat, visibly sharing the truth of the greatest artist of all time on repeat, 99.9% of the moving adult society have no compassione whatsoever. And this is all what I'm saying on repeat, that they reject again and again and again, while I'm visibly on repeat teaching the children and sharing the truth and tributing the greatest writers of all time. over and over and over again. And the adult society reject it from 1 meter away. While I'm saying again, here come the bambinis. I bambini sono vedere, è a miracolo. Ciao little bambini, spazio in for you, space vision for you. Nice to see you in reality today. And they just keep on checking the ground and looking away. Elvis in the ghetto, they check themselves and then they look away. They check themselves and then they walk away. I put to you, should I sit here as a homeless brother? Well, I'm not too. I'm sleeping with lots of other homeless brothers and sisters inside the shopping centre, which is really beautiful, and I feel safe because it's well lit and there's other people around. And that's where I meet the good people who are bringing the food, coming over saying, come to the church, come and join us. I was going to go today, but I discovered it's 13 kilometres away. And no matter what I say, on repeat, visibly teaching the children, on repeat, visibly sharing the truth, on repeat, 99% of the adult society, and I'm not exaggerating the percentage, Tina from the church said 80% are egoistic. I've watched them, this is day 17, I'm saying all of this in the calmest possible way. 99% of the moving adult society have ultimately 0.0000 compassione. That's for a writer, artist, poet, musician, and a homeless brother. This is the truth, Lavarita Pericolo, from someone who's watched society for 12 and a half years as a street artist. This is what's going on the other side of the camera, on that side of the camera right now. They ultimately do not have compassion. They don't have 10 cents in compassion. If I'm sitting here as a homeless brother or sister, or if I'm sitting here as a writer, artist, poet, musician, no matter how much truth they hear, they ultimately reject it in the favour of the ground and themselves instead. God bless. I'll let the video go for you to see this energy explosion of musicians, music and art coming through Napoli. And I sit here defending their children and grandchildren, singing God Children Home on repeat, and 99% of them ultimately reject it with 0.00000 compassione whatsoever. Somehow, I'm the rejected one. I've done more for their children just today than anyone else in this city, and that is guaranteed. And yesterday, and every day since I arrived. God bless.